The morning sun filtered through the trees, painting dappled patterns on the ground where the disciples sat. Buddha, serene and luminous, gazed at them with calm eyes. Silence embraced the gathering as birds chirped softly in the distance. Buddha began. There was once a merchant who sought the most exquisite gem the world could offer. His voice flowed like a gentle stream. He traveled from mountain to mountain, across oceans, deserts, and forests, yet found no satisfaction. When it is cluttered with desires, distractions, and judgments, it cannot hold what is truly valuable. The disciples leaned closer, eager to absorb the meaning in his words. Then, one day, he stumbled upon a stream, its waters sparkling like jewels. He cupped his hands and drank deeply, realizing the pure water was more precious than any gem. Buddha said. He gestured toward the villagers carrying baskets, tools, and goods. Their steps hurried with the weight of their tasks. Look around. Do their burdens allow them freedom or bind them in endless striving? A gust of wind stirred the leaves above, and the rustle of nature seemed to echo his teaching. True wealth, the Buddha said, is not measured by accumulation but by the purity of what we carry within us. We seek happiness outside ourselves, chasing illusions, only to find dissatisfaction. He paused, allowing his words to sink in. Happiness sought through possessions, status, or fleeting pleasures is like a mirage in the desert, Buddha said. A mirage vanishes when approached, leaving only emptiness and thirst behind. The disciples nodded, each pondering their own pursuits of external happiness. Buddha gestured toward a nearby tree laden with ripe fruits. Consider this tree, he said. Its fruits feed many, yet it does not grasp or strive. True happiness arises when we cease chasing and begin cultivating our inner wellspring, Buddha continued. Just as a tree grows from its roots, we flourish from within. His voice carried a timeless truth, unshakable and steady. One disciple, a young man, spoke hesitantly. Master, how can we nurture this inner wellspring when the world tempts us at every turn? Buddha smiled gently, as if expecting the question. The world offers endless distractions, he replied, but wisdom and mindfulness guide us to see their true nature. Like the man in the desert who dug to find water, Buddha said, we too must turn inward. Minimalism, he said, is not isolation. It is living with intention, aware of what truly matters. As the disciples ate, they felt the depth of his words resonating within their hearts. The young disciple bowed, his heart moved by the clarity of Buddha's teaching. Buddha addressed the group once more. Imagine a pot filled with muddy water, he said. Stirring it only increases the cloudiness, obscuring the depths. But if the pot remains still, Buddha continued, the mud settles, and the water clears, revealing the truth beneath. His words painted vivid imagery, awakening understanding in his disciples. When our minds settle, clarity and peace emerge, Buddha said. Another disciple, an older man, raised his voice. Master, what about the hardships we endure? Do they not hinder our inner happiness? Buddha regarded him kindly, his expression unwavering. Hardships are the soil in which wisdom grows, he said. The lotus blooms in muddy waters, Buddha explained, gesturing toward a pond nearby. Its beauty is born from adversity. The disciples turned to the lotus, marveling at its simplicity and grace. Buddha continued, likewise, our struggles nurture our inner growth, leading to profound happiness. The group fell silent, their minds digesting the lessons Buddha shared. Buddha, sensing their deep reflection, offered further guidance. Attachment is the root of suffering, he said. To find peace, we must let go of our clinging desires. Imagine holding a burning coal, Buddha said. The tighter you grasp, the more it burns. Release it to find relief. His analogy resonated deeply. casting a ripple of understanding among the listeners. In letting go, we discover the freedom and joy that exist beyond attachment, Buddha added. A gentle breeze rustled the leaves above, creating a serene harmony in nature's symphony. It fulfills its purpose with simplicity. The monk listened intently, his heart touched by the wisdom carried in those words. Compassion and wisdom are the twin paths to inner happiness, he said. Compassion connects us to all beings, dissolving the illusion of separateness, Buddha explained. Wisdom unveils the reality of impermanence and interdependence. He extended his hands outward, as if embracing the world. Together, these paths lead us to liberation from suffering. The disciples felt their hearts expand, filled with the radiant light of Buddha's teachings. Another disciple asked, "Master, how can we see simplicity as fulfilling when desires and comparisons continually cloud our minds?" The Buddha faced him, the sunlight casting a warm glow across his peaceful countenance. Desires rooted in attachment create suffering, but simplicity anchored in wisdom leads to contentment and liberation. Happiness does not depend on conditions, he replied. It arises from understanding and aligning with life's truths. His words carried an assurance that calmed every doubt, even amidst storms. The mind anchored in wisdom remains unshaken, Buddha said. The woman bowed, her gratitude flowing like a silent prayer. Buddha looked at his gathered disciples, their faces illuminated by his words. Happiness is not found in seeking but in being, he said. Let go of striving and rest in the present. The sun climbed higher, casting golden rays over the gathering. The disciples felt as though a veil had lifted, revealing a deeper reality. Buddha, serene and luminous as ever, concluded with a simple yet profound truth. Seek not what is fleeting, he said. Cultivate the eternal peace within you. The disciples bowed deeply, their hearts filled with gratitude and resolve. The Buddha said, even gifts such as these are transient. Appreciate them but do not cling to them, for that leads to suffering. The morning sun continued its journey, illuminating the world with gentle warmth. The teachings of Buddha lingered, etched in the hearts of his disciples, timeless and eternal. Another day, another gathering of disciples eager for Buddha's wisdom. The sun hung low, bathing the earth in amber hues. Buddha sat beside a flickering flame, its light casting gentle shadows on his serene face. The disciples formed a circle, their anticipation silent but palpable. Buddha began, his voice steady like the flame itself. Observe this fire before you, burning brightly, sustained by the oil beneath it, he said. The flame danced, casting flickering shadows that seemed to echo his words. The oil feeds the fire, granting it life, yet in doing so, it fuels destruction and eventual depletion. He turned toward the disciples, his gaze profound and steady. This flame reflects our desires, he said. They burn within us, insatiable, consuming all that sustains them. The disciples nodded, their eyes fixed on the flame's hypnotic movement. Buddha continued, the more we feed these cravings, the greater their hold on us. Until we are consumed entirely, Buddha reached out, extinguishing the flame with a gentle motion. Smoke curled upward, dissolving into the air. Observe now, he said. With the flame extinguished, peace returns. Its light was temporary, yet its absence reveals eternal clarity. One disciple, a woman, asked, Master, how can we extinguish the flames of desire without abandoning the joys of living? Buddha smiled warmly, his hands resting on his knees. To extinguish desire is not to abandon joy, he replied. True joy arises not from grasping but from freedom. He gestured toward the empty space where the flame had burned. Freedom lies in understanding impermanence, Buddha said. Desires cling to illusions of permanence. Yet all things are transient. What you observe is clarity. Minimalism is not deprivation but the absence of distractions, creating space for purpose and peace. Consider a river, he said. Its waters flow endlessly, never stagnant, yet the river itself remains unchanged. His analogy painted vivid imagery, guiding the disciples toward deeper understanding. Life flows like this river, Buddha explained. Our desires attempt to dam its waters, creating suffering through resistance. A young disciple spoke hesitantly, his voice trembling. Master, if desires are natural, are they not also necessary? Buddha regarded him kindly, his expression gentle. Desires arise naturally, but it is our attachment to them that causes suffering, he replied. Acceptance without attachment frees us. The disciples reflected deeply, their thoughts swirling like the smoke that once rose from the flame. Buddha continued, imagine holding a fragile leaf in your hand, he said. Clutch it tightly, and it crumbles. Hold it gently, and it remains whole. This leaf symbolizes our approach to life, Buddha explained. Grasping leads to destruction. Gentleness preserves its essence. His analogy struck a chord, revealing profound truths through simple imagery. Gentleness arises from wisdom and mindfulness, Buddha said. Through these, we transcend the grasping of desires, an older disciple asked, his voice steady. Master, how can we cultivate mindfulness amid life's chaos? Buddha gestured toward the flickering shadows on the wall. Shadows dance with the flame, yet they cannot exist without light, he said. Mindfulness is this light, amid chaos. Mindfulness reveals the truth of impermanence, Buddha explained. It anchors us, allowing clarity to emerge within confusion. His words carried assurance, calming the disciples' doubts and fears. Through mindfulness, we discover the eternal light beyond transient flames, Buddha said. The disciples grew silent, absorbing the layers of wisdom woven into Buddha's teachings. Buddha, sensing their reflection, offered another parable. There was once a farmer who lit a fire in the cold of night, he began. The flame warmed him, yet as dawn approached, its heat turned unbearable. The farmer extinguished the flame, finding solace in the cool breeze of morning, Buddha said. This flame symbolizes our desires, which often comfort but eventually harm us. His parable illuminated his teaching, bridging abstract concepts with tangible reality. Another disciple asked, Master, if desires harm us, how do we discern between healthy needs and destructive cravings? Buddha's expression softened, filled with compassion. Healthy needs sustain life, while destructive cravings cling to illusions of permanence, he replied. Wisdom discerns between the two. He gestured toward the extinguished flame once more. When clarity arises, our minds discern what nourishes us and what burns us, Buddha explained. This clarity is born from mindfulness and self-reflection. The disciples nodded, their understanding deepening with each word. Buddha's teachings wove a tapestry of insight, blending truth with beauty. As the sun dipped lower, casting fiery hues across the sky, Buddha addressed the group again. Compassion and wisdom extinguish the flames of craving, he said. Compassion connects us to others, dissolving the illusion of separateness. He extended his hands outward, embracing the space around him. Wisdom unveils the truth of impermanence, guiding us toward liberation. The disciples felt their hearts expand, filled with the radiant light of Buddha's teachings. One disciple, a young woman, asked softly, Master, how do we live compassionately without losing ourselves? Buddha regarded her with warmth, his gaze steady. Compassion does not require losing yourself, he replied. It arises from recognizing yourself in others. His words resonated deeply, dissolving fears and doubts. Compassion and wisdom are twin paths that lead to inner peace, Buddha said. The night deepened, the flame extinguished, its absence casting tranquility upon the gathering. Buddha's teachings illuminated the disciples' minds, their spirits lifted by his timeless wisdom. The flames of craving are not eternal, Buddha concluded. Extinguish them, and discover the light that exists beyond their grasp. As the disciples bowed deeply, their hearts filled with gratitude and resolve, Buddha's teachings lingered, etched in their souls, timeless and eternal. The stars above shimmered, their light undimmed by the absence of fire. The teachings of Buddha carried on, illuminating the hearts of his disciples like the eternal light of truth. Another day, another gathering of eager disciples under the vast sky. Buddha led them to the edge of a tranquil pond. The water glistened with sunlight, reflecting clouds and the soft hues of the morning. At the center of the pond, a lotus flower stood, its petals untouched by the mud below. Buddha pointed to the flower and began to speak. "Look at this lotus," he said. "It grows from the mud, yet it rises pure and untainted." The disciples gazed at the flower, their minds already beginning to ponder its significance. The mud represents the challenges, struggles, and impurities of life, Buddha continued. The lotus symbolizes our potential to transcend them. A soft breeze rippled the pond's surface, spreading the lotus's fragrance. Buddha's voice was calm but firm. "Our struggles are not obstacles," he said. "They are the fertile ground from which our wisdom and peace can bloom." The disciples absorbed his words, their hearts touched by the beauty of the analogy. One disciple, a young man, asked, "Master, how can we rise above the mud without being sullied by it?" Buddha smiled gently, his eyes reflecting compassion. "By embracing the mud as part of the journey, not as something to avoid," he replied. "The lotus does not resist the mud. It uses it as nourishment to grow." Buddha gestured to the disciples. "Our suffering can nourish our growth, just as the mud nourishes the lotus," he said. His words hung in the air, profound and illuminating. Another disciple, an older woman, asked, "Master, how do we avoid being consumed by our suffering while trying to grow?" Buddha knelt by the edge of the pond, touching the water lightly with his fingers. "The water around the lotus keeps it clean," he explained. "So must we surround ourselves with mindfulness and compassion." The disciples nodded, their understanding deepening with each of Buddha's insights. Buddha continued, "Mindfulness protects us from being overwhelmed by suffering, allowing us to see it clearly for what it is." His voice carried both reassurance and strength. "Compassion, extended to ourselves and others, prevents bitterness and nurtures growth," Buddha said. A bird called softly from a nearby tree, its melody blending with the gentle rustle of leaves. The disciples remained focused on Buddha's teachings. He pointed again to the lotus. "Its beauty lies not only in its bloom but in its journey through the mud and water," Buddha said. One disciple asked, "Master, how do we begin this journey of rising like the lotus?" Buddha turned to him, his gaze steady and kind. "Begin by accepting the mud of your life," he said. "Resistance only deepens suffering." The disciple bowed his head, contemplating the meaning of acceptance. Buddha stood, his presence as serene as the still pond. "Acceptance does not mean resignation," he clarified. "It means seeing things as they are, without judgment or attachment." His words resonated deeply, carving paths of understanding in the disciples' minds. He continued, "Through acceptance, we gain the clarity to act wisely and grow." Buddha's voice was steady, like a guiding star in the night sky. "Growth requires patience, just as the lotus takes time to bloom," he said. The disciples listened, their hearts attuned to his wisdom. Another disciple, a young woman, asked, "Master, how do we know if we are truly growing and not just surviving?" Buddha smiled, his expression filled with warmth. "True growth brings inner peace and compassion," he replied. "Survival alone often carries fear and resistance." Buddha gestured toward the sky. its vast expanse a mirror of possibility. Growth is like the rising sun, he said. It illuminates everything, dissolving the shadows of ignorance and fear. His words painted vivid imagery, guiding the disciples toward a deeper understanding. He turned back to the pond and the lotus. The lotus blooms quietly, without seeking attention or approval, Buddha said. So too must our growth be humble and natural. The disciples reflected deeply, their thoughts aligned with Buddha's teachings. Buddha knelt once more, his hand touching the earth gently. The earth supports all growth, yet it asks for nothing in return, he said. This is the essence of humility. The disciples bowed, their hearts filled with gratitude for the lesson. Buddha continued. Humility keeps us grounded as we rise, preventing pride from clouding our wisdom. His voice carried a tone of gentle warning. Like the lotus, let us bloom not for recognition but for the joy of being, Buddha said. The disciples felt a profound shift within, as if a veil had been lifted from their hearts. Buddha addressed them one final time. The journey of the lotus is a reminder of our own potential for awakening, he said. From the mud of life, we can rise into clarity and compassion. He looked at each disciple, his gaze filled with love and understanding. Let the lotus remind you to embrace your struggles and to grow through them, Buddha said. The disciples bowed deeply, their spirits uplifted by his timeless wisdom. The sun climbed higher, casting its golden light upon the pond and the gathered disciples. Buddha's teachings lingered in the air, resonating in the hearts of those who heard them. The lotus stood tall, its beauty a silent testament to the truths Buddha had shared. The disciples left the pond with a newfound clarity, their paths illuminated by the lessons of the lotus. Buddha watched them depart, his presence as steady and serene as ever. The world seemed brighter, touched by the light of understanding and compassion. The morning unfolded peacefully, the pond reflecting the sky's serene beauty. The teachings of Buddha, like the lotus, remain timeless and eternal. Thank you for watching. Buddha's teachings are always with you. Subscribe to our channel and we will see you in the next video.